The balances that changed as a result of Russia's contrary invasion attempt on February 24th caused the re-establishment of order in the whole world. NATO suddenly gained great power and the aging alliance came of age. With the renewed understanding of the Russian threat in Europe, and the value of NATO was seen by every country. Even Finland and Sweden, which have so far preferred to remain neutral in every crisis and have not been willing to join the NATO alliance, have entered the stage of becoming member states by making their official applications to NATO. Even if Russia cannot react to this move due to the losses it suffered in the war in Ukraine, it does not hesitate to retaliate against NATO countries in the Baltic, Nordic countries, and their exercises in the Baltic Sea. Since last year, the activity of the Russian Navy and Air Force in the Baltic has increased tremendously. During the 9-month period during the Ukraine war and before, Russian warships, submarines, warplanes, and drones made moves that increased the tension on the Baltic, and from time to time they had border violations against Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Denmark. Especially after Sweden and Finland's official application to NATO, we see that Russian harassment has increased significantly. Against this situation, NATO is rapidly protecting Sweden and Finland under its own roof. In Finland, Sweden, and Estonia seem to make every effort to close the Baltic Sea to Russia. This week, the NATO and Finnish Navy's massive exercise with 23 warships, other auxiliary ships, and 5,000 Marines took place 70 kilometers from Putin's hometown of St. Petersburg. Finland seems intent on closing the strait between its port city of Helsinki and the Estonian port of Tallinn. This strait could completely close the Baltic connection to the Russian port of St. Petersburg. These days, Finland's exercise in the Gulf of Finland has made a great impression. The Finnish Navy's large-scale exercises, Crying Wings, began in the Gulf of Finland and the Archipelago Sea. The exercises will take more than a week. Military personnel from France, Germany, Sweden, and the USA will also take part. The purpose of the Freezing Wings exercise is to conduct a joint operation off the Finnish coast and in the Baltic waters, and to teach the military to provide and receive international aid. 23 warships, technical fleet ships, Navy units, and infantry from Finland and NATO participated in the exercises. Freezing Wings employs approximately 5,000 people. This exercise of 23 warships seems to have put enough fear into the heart of the Russian army. The Kremlin explained that it felt a provocation for such a large fighting force to be so close to the Russian border. Flight activity in southern Finland and the northern Baltic Sea will be high during the exercise. In other words, the Baltic Sea area is protected by NATO warplanes while carrying out a very serious war force exercise from the sea. One of the serious contributions of Finland's participation in NATO was these exercises. Similar activities had been done before, but Finland, which has joined NATO, has now started to swing NATO's hammer in the Baltic. Finland is in the process of joining NATO due to the new security environment created in Europe after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. As a result, in the spring of 2022, Finland applied to join the Western Alliance, subverting the previous military mismatch security paradigm, built on a capable national defense, bilateral security partnerships with NATO and EU countries, and a working relationship with Russia. Finland entered a daunting ratification phase by all 30 NATO members after submitting its application on May 18, 2022. The application process itself was seen as a once-in-a-generation change to security policy. Down the road, Finland will face the process of fully integrating its defense structure with that of NATO. Since the end of the Second World War, Finland has developed its distinctive military culture and capabilities, and will now need to ensure full interoperability with the other 30 members of the alliance. At the time of writing this report, 28 out of 30 NATO members have approved Finland's accession to NATO, with only Turkey and Hungary ratifying. Whatever the length of the ratification process, Finland will prove to be a strong member of the alliance and will enhance NATO's capabilities in various ways. This report will explore the contributions Finland can make as a member of NATO, from enhancing the alliance's capabilities in the Arctic to strengthening the Scandinavian security architecture. There are 3 key areas where Finland can make significant contributions to the alliance. First, on resilience, Finland's conscription reserves total 900,000 with a wartime strength of 280,000. Finland has a solid civil defense infrastructure built on civil total defense. a comprehensive national security strategy that can be mobilized in the event of a crisis and war. It covers community-wide food and fuel, among other factors. At least 6 months of reserves in strategic stockpiles and bomb shelters for the urban population. Finland's civil total defense apparatus was created as a direct result of repelling a full-scale invasion of the Soviet Union in the 1940s. These strategic stocks were used during the COVID-19 pandemic, and their usefulness was demonstrated. Stamina is a combination of abilities and a mood. Finland's ethic of preparedness provides a model that NATO member states should emulate to meet the challenges of the 21st century. Second, as a technologically advanced country, Finland is home to a variety of industrial-grade IT capabilities, including 5G telecommunications and cybersecurity. When Finland joins NATO, the alliance will also gain major 5G infrastructure provider Nokia, one of the 3 major companies providing such infrastructure, the other 2 being Ericsson in Sweden and Huawei in China, and innovative satellite technology. In terms of security, the Finnish model requires close cooperation between the private and public sectors, with various public-private partnerships leveraging each other's relative strengths, such as speed of doing business and long-term planning and financing. Moreover, Finnish society is resilient by international standards. The proliferation of capabilities and intelligence in telecommunications technologies offers attractive opportunities for NATO intermember procurement. Third, Finland is a clear contribution to NATO's defense capabilities. Finland's artillery forces are the largest and best equipped in Western Europe, and will be an important strategic asset for the alliance. With around 1,500 artillery guns, including 700 howitzer cannons, 700 heavy mortars, and 100 rocket launch systems, Finnish artillery has more artillery firepower than the combined armies of Poland, Germany, Norway, and Sweden can currently muster. Europe's largest artillery training ground, Rovajärvi, and other training sites in northern Finland offer NATO strategic military opportunities for skills training, with a large number of artillery pieces still dominating the area. The contemporary battlefield NATO enlargement inherently creates more defensive space for the alliance, which may reduce the alliance's defense capabilities. However, Finland has the capability to provide its defense and will make a net contribution, not a burden, to security. As a NATO member, Finland is on the alliance's northeastern flank, particularly St. Petersburg, the Baltic Sea, and Russia's Arctic, near the Kola Peninsula, offer strong defenses. The NATO membership of Finland and Sweden will have geostrategic repercussions in the high north. The common border between Russia and NATO will more than double in length, seen by some as a NATO lake of which all coastal states are now part of NATO. The Baltic Sea will acquire a new strategic importance. The NATO defense planning process will soon be able to harmonize the defense planning of 5 Scandinavian countries. For the first time since Kalmar League was dissolved in 1523, all Scandinavians will be members of the same military alliance. From a military strategy perspective, the additional geographic that Finland and Sweden create for regional defense is extremely valuable for the Baltics, as well as for all Scandinavian countries. Therefore, it is expected to be quickly incorporated into NATO's operational defense plans at the time of accession. Therefore, as Finland and Sweden join NATO, the existing Scandinavian security framework will become increasingly important. This view was solidified in a joint statement by Scandinavian prime ministers in August 2022. The effectiveness of our defense can be increased as the Nordic countries will be adjusted to the new security order through defense cooperation, joint training, integrated planning, and the ability to run operations smoothly. Intergovernmental forums such as the Nordic Council of Ministers, the Nordic Council, and Nordic Defense Cooperation will remain important for concrete regional actions, such as the removal of legal and regulatory barriers to unrestricted military interoperability and cooperation. Through joint defense planning, Nordic countries can overcome some of the fragmentation in defense spending that has weakened EU countries. Contrary to some beliefs that Finland and Sweden's NATO membership will replace Nordefco, the Nordic Council, and other regional forums, these will continue to run and complement ongoing NATO activities. While more defense and security talks could be held at NATO's Brussels headquarters instead of Nordefco, the layers of regional cooperation available in the Nordic countries offer many opportunities for future integration of allies' armies. In addition to the synergies arising from the United Scandinavian countries, the military partnership will continue to evolve. Given its geostrategic reality, Finland will focus on roles within NATO related to Scandinavian defense, Baltic Sea operations, border surveillance, and Arctic security. Arctic theater will regain importance when Sweden and Finland join NATO. For this reason, Russia lost a lot of things with its operation on February 24th. They destroyed their allies, especially at critical points. Putin, whose military power has been partially damaged, is desperately waiting for this scenario to be worked out. Thanks for watching us.